Hey guys, welcome back. It's ET here, Eran Thomson. I'm a creative director and I'm doing free creative portfolio reviews for a little while here to help people find the jobs of their dreams, take their work from good to great. The feedback and response has been really fantastic. Thank you to everyone who's shared a link. I've got a backlog. I'm getting to them as fast as I can. Today, I'm looking at my very first photographer website from a guy called David Fold. So thank you, David, for sharing your link. I'm really excited to look at your work and get stuck in. If you want to share your work right here, share your folio at aaronthomson.com/reviews. I would love to see your stuff and try and give you as much helpful feedback and ideas and suggestions to help you take your own work from good to great and land the jobs or clients of your dreams. Before we get started, I always like to say that everything I share here comes from a place of respect, and also it's just my opinion, right? You need to go out and show your work to as many people as you can that you respect, trust, and believe in, and see what they think of your work before you make any decisions based on just my feedback. You probably already know that, but I like to say that if people keep telling you that you have a tail, sooner or later you need to turn around and take a look. And what I mean is if you're getting consistent feedback from people, consistent notes, maybe it's time to think about how important it is to take that feedback on. By the way, if you want to work with me directly, I'm offering one-on-one coaching. I'll be announcing more about that shortly. But if you're curious to hear more, just drop me a note. You can find my contact form on my website at aaronthomson.com. Okay, now without any further ado, let's get stuck in and have a look at David's website. Cool. So, all right. So this is interesting. So obviously he's a photographer. We knew that already. He's got some interesting variety of images here on his website. There's a little bit of like an animated oceany topographic map type thing happening in the header. What is that? It's got a play and pause button. Okay. Yep. And what else are we looking at here? Okay, so look, I think my very first impressions are that header is interesting. I don't know if it's on brand for you, like if this blue color palette and that kind of topographic map thing that's animating in the header is gonna, if I'm gonna learn more and discover that this is kind of your brand. But it's weird to me that it's a video that I can pause and play, especially when I know from looking at your navigation that you do motion. So I feel like if you're going to have motion there, unless that is a piece of your own motion, that maybe you could replace it with something that you've done, or just make it static. I'm not sure that it's helping you. I don't think it's hurting you, but it might be confusing people. So that's my very first note. I love that you've got Instagram in your top right corner. I did have a look at your Instagram before jumping on this review. I think you do a really nice job on there of showcasing a bunch of your stuff and your work, your approach to work and the different types of work you like to do in a really quick and succinct way that makes it easy for people to understand who you are and what you offer. So that's cool. And obviously Instagram is a great place for any photographer to be. So it's great that you kind of calling that out there in a really easy and obvious way. There's a little disconnect here for me with your navigation, right? So you've got home, people, products, CG, motion, projects, contact across the top. That's a lot of stuff. But more importantly, it doesn't match the navigation at the bottom with the buttons, right? So you got people, that matches, product, that matches. But then you've got CG and pixels, and I'm guessing those are the same thing. Then you've got motion, and then you got pictures that move, which I think is just a cute way of saying motion, and then projects. So pixels and pictures that move. I feel like let's be consistent in the top and the bottom, right? Navigation is one of those things that you want to make easy and instinctual for people to use. And when you name the same thing two different ways, that kind of potentially gets in the way of that. And what else am I reacting to on this homepage? So every photo is a self-portrait. Okay, I know what you mean there. At least I think I do. I think what you're trying to say is I put a little bit of myself into everything I do. But it's confusing to see those words and then see a picture of this guy in the brown jumper and then see this guy with the flowery hijab or whatever that is, right? So it's sort of like, wait a minute, those aren't you, but they are portraits. So I feel like that language there is confusing. And also, maybe not necessary. Nobody expects a photographer to have clever headlines or great copywriting on their website. However, if you're going to choose to have it, it needs to be really great. And if you're working with communication arts professionals whose living is, succinctly selling, sharing, informing, teaching, then you need your own website to communicate at the level that they are instinctively operating at every day, right? So any headline that even for a second creates confusion needs to be revisited and relooked at. So I just might invite you to have a look at that and think about if it's important for you to say this, whether or not you can say that in your profile bio page, which I don't see a link to here, which is weird. I definitely would want to see that if I was working with you or deciding if I want to work with you. So that's another note maybe. Unless I stumble across it later as I'm clicking through, definitely have an about page, right? People want to get to know you. Okay, so without further ado, let's get stuck in and look at people. It took a camera in front of my face for me to truly connect with people. Right, okay, so I'm going to say the same thing here about this line as the one on the front. That is that this potentially makes it sound like you are awkward, right? I know what you mean, right? Which is you feel like when you have a camera in your hand, you can connect with them in a way that gets the most magical, mysterious, beautiful, interesting, intriguing photograph out of that relationship. And I get that. I think anybody who's worked with a photographer will get that. However, I think it could be misinterpreted. So be careful. Now, there's some very interesting stuff here. This is people, so that makes sense that it would be portraits. Let's click on them. Sapsucker. So it's like some kind of a beverage in what looks like a bear trap. Can I use arrows to navigate? Yes. Okay, awesome. I love that when that happens. So, all right, next. This is cool. The Way You See Me, right? This is a powerful image. Looks like might be an album cover. I like it. This is cool, very dramatic lighting. That's cool, nice lighting. I feel like I should know who that person is, but I don't. Ooh, right, more dramatic, moody lighting. So this is kind of revealing itself to me as sort of your jam, right? You love to play with light. Okay, this doesn't quite do the same thing, but it's still a nice image. Ooh, this is cool. I like this, very nice. This, what is this? Okay, I'm not sure what this is doing here. It's the expression, one of these things is not like the other. You've taken me on this beautiful journey of really well lit, crafted, art directed, stylized photography. And now I'm like, here's a dude behind his ring light. So this feels like maybe it doesn't belong unless I'm missing part of a story. Let's keep going. Yeah, so now we're back to this. This is a great photo. Back to your jam, your thing, the thing that I feel like I will now think of you for when I'm looking for this. Yeah, here's another one. Great, really cool. And this is kind of more of like a standard expected portrait. Also weird that this is coming up here when it was the first image I clicked on. Yeah, this one. Okay, yeah, that's nice. Ooh, that's nice. Kind of a Burberry vibe. This is cool, very fashiony, stylized. More light play. Nice composition here. This is fun, playful. All right, I'm getting a little bit of your personality now. Oh, another one of these. Another one of those. It'd be nice to know what this is for. Obviously, it's for something called Sapsucker, but if this is commercial work, then my recommendation with any commercial work is show it in the ad. Get a copy of the ad. If the ad was too messy or you didn't like how it came out, ask the agency creatives that you worked with if you can get the files and just manipulate them a little bit for your portfolio. That might be things like removing terms and conditions or superfluous copy to get a cleaner version of it for your book. Because when you see conceptual photography like this that clearly is for an ad without the rest of the ad paying it off, it can be confusing. And also, if you're trying to work with creatives, they want to see ads. So I think you should consider that. This feels definitely back towards your kind of the way I'm perceiving your personal style, at least for now. So does this. Very cool. This is kind of like that guy with the glasses with the 3 lenses. This feels like part of that campaign. And then we're back to this. Okay, cool. So my suggestion is I'm going to give you some feedback here just on the flow, right? So if the first image is this black guy in the brown sweater, put that first, right? I've clicked on that image to see more. That's the first thing you should show me. The second thing I would say is group stuff together so that it feels like, so that I can get a flow. So like the guy with the 3 lens glasses and the dude down here with the other kooky glasses, they should be put together, I think. At least when I'm clicking through. If you want to keep this collage and break it up, I understand that decision, but I feel like I want to see things together because I'm evaluating, like if I'm evaluating you as a black and white fashion photographer, I want to look at one image of that. I don't want to suddenly look at a guy in blown out, washed out, beautiful colors, right? It's not, I'm just forcing me to, you're putting a lot of cognitive load on me to switch between different things that I'm trying to evaluate. And I'm trying to do this quickly, right? Because I'm busy and I got a million things and the suits are banging on my door, right? So I think start with use the image your hero image and start with it. Group campaign imagery together so I can get a sense that things flow. If the images are from an ad campaign, show me the ads if you can and they came out well. And then the other thing I'd say is you've established a really cool, interesting style with this light and the way you use it to illuminate people's faces and eyes. I think that's powerful and interesting. It feels ownable. I could be wrong, but it feels like something that is potentially uniquely you. And then you've got this picture in here of a guy behind his ring light. I don't know why that's in there. I don't think it's like an amazing photograph compared to what you already are showing me now. So I think you can get rid of that. I think that's my feedback on this. There's some really lovely stuff here. Okay, now I want to go back. Okay, let's look at product. By the way, I'm still looking for like an about me. Anything and everything can go in front of my lens. Okay, let's just check. I want to check something here because I think punctuation might be a thing. No, you're not using full stops. Okay, cool. Just consistency is important. So anything and everything can go in front of my lens. Is that true? Like, do you really want to shoot anything and everything? Also, unlike the portraits, I can't seem to expand these to get a bigger, better look at them, which I think is a mistake. Now, I think you told me in your email that you are in Toronto, Canada. So this could be part of the reason why you're kind of showing me such a diverse breadth of work in your portfolio. I'll back up for a second to explain where I'm coming from. So when I lived in New York City and I was working at BBH, when we needed photographers, we could be very specific about the type of photographers that we wanted to hire. So like if we were doing black and white tabletop food, I would tell my art buyer or the producers to say, bring me all the portfolios of all the black and white tabletop food photographers. And people would there'd be a stack of portfolios on my desk and you'd flip through them and every single picture would be black and white tabletop food. That was their thing, what they were awesome at, and you knew that if you needed that thing, these were the people to work with, right? And I got used to that. And it was, for every type of photograph I wanted, there'd be a bunch of photographers that specialized in that, and we would choose our favorites. Now, when I moved to Australia to be a creative director at TBWA, very different market, right? Australia has the economy of California and the population of New York State. So it's a small market. Photographers need to demonstrate a breadth of skills and expertise to eat. And so, but I didn't know this. So when I first arrived, I asked my art buyer to put portfolios on my desk so I could get a sense of the available talent. The first photographer I looked at, I opened it up and I was like, oh, cool, portrait photographer. And I turned the page and I was like, oh, wait, automobiles. I turned the page again. I was like, oh, wait, landscapes. I turned the page again. I was like, black and white food. I was like, wait, this person doesn't know who they are. I don't know what they are. And I kind of took that book and I dismissed it. And then I opened up the next photographer's book and it was the exact same way. And when I spoke to people about it, they explained what I just explained to you, which is in a small market, in a small community, you need to have a diverse skill set if you want to stay busy, keep working, and make a living. And I suspect that's potentially the same thing in Toronto, which is why you're showing me this breadth of work. So this creates a bit of a conundrum, which is how can you organize this stuff in a way that feels compartmentalized so that even though you're demonstrating a breadth of work, I still know that you have unique skill sets for each one. So I don't have the answer here for you. This is just something to think about because right now you've kind of broken it up into people, product, motion, projects, and I think like CG, right? So, but there could be an opportunity to add a different type of navigation or additional navigation, which lets me search by product photography, tabletop photography, fashion photography, right? Do you know what I mean? So then people can start to get a sense of which buckets they can put you in and then think of you for when they need a photographer. So this work is all really nice. I feel like some of the sapsucker stuff is a little washed out, but that could just be intentional. And, there's some, if I was to be really brutal, I would say that the Balzac coffee roasters doesn't feel special in the same way that everything else feels special. So this picture of the little treats like brownies and things, and this one down in the lower right-hand corner of the croissants and coffee, I don't think that stuff is working hard for you compared to everything else. Same with the croissants up here on the top. So I potentially get rid of that stuff. Remember, less is more. Keep your best stuff. Get rid of everything else. All right, let's go to CG. Don't need a camera to make great imagery. Okay, this is interesting too. There's a conundrum, right? Because what you're showing me here is gorgeous, right? Like obviously you have an incredible talent in terms of creating stuff out of pure pixels, right? So that is to be celebrated, recognized, and appreciated. Again, I can't click on these to look at them big, and I think with CGI stuff, it's really important that people be able to get a closer look to see the fine detail, to see the craft, and you're not letting me do that here, so that's a bit of a disappointment. Also, it's a repeat of imagery I've already seen in a different category. So this goes back to my suggestion about thinking how you might want to reorganize things on here. Is this what you really want to be doing mostly? Or is it kind of like every once in a while I do it, or I used to do it, but now I'm using my camera? Because right now you've treated all these categories the same. And so now I'm kind of confused. Do you want to do CG? Should I hire you for that? Or are you really a photographer, but you've done CG and you just want to demonstrate? So potentially this could be a subcategory. It could go somewhere else. Or you lead with it if this is the thing that you want to do and are doing the most of and make the most money at and are proudest of. And then you use your photography work as maybe a rationale and a way to support the fact that you know how to do great CG stuff. Because, if you don't know how to work with light and dimensionality and composition and all the things that make a great photograph, how are you going to do it in CG, right? So that's, the fact that you're a great photographer means you will more likely to be good at CG. So again, I don't have the answers here. I'm just throwing things out here for you to consider. Okay, motion. Where I got my start. Okay, so what are you hoping I will understand or take away here? Is it that you used to do motion, but now you're not? Because if you're not, let's not look at it. Let's just think of you as a photographer and keep you there. Already, there's a photographer box with multiple buckets of skills, types of photography I'm going to try and think of you for. You've introduced CG as yet another pillar, right? And now you've got motion. And the words "where I got my start" makes me think that maybe that's not what you want to keep doing. Let's have a look at what you've got here. This looks like one of the Instagram things. It's a good track. Waiting for the drop. Okay, so you're doing a little bit of how-to kind of stuff. Right? I always think these are kind of interesting when you get to see a little bit of the craft, especially with motion. Lighting artist. Huh. That's an interesting set of words, given that you're a photographer. I'm not quite sure how to interpret it, but it's interesting. What's this? Okay. Okay. All right, I'm going to pause here. So I don't know I don't know what this is that you're showing me because it doesn't quite feel like a hype reel. But I don't know what I'm not sure what it is. You're just kind of like it's a hodgepodge of things that you somehow touched in different ways. So if you're interested in doing more motion stuff, and a lot of photographers now are being asked to do that, right? Because of social, especially, right? Can you do the shoot and can you do stuff for our socials? So that's a common request that almost every photographer I've worked with in the last couple of years has gotten. So I don't blame you for potentially keeping it here as an offer for your clients. It might serve you better just to have a half dozen videos here of things that you shot rather than this kind of hodgepodge of scenes with subtitles explaining what you did. Remember, you're in the image business, not the explanation business, and I think you're doing a lot of explaining here rather than just wowing me with mesmerizing visuals. Okay, let's go here. Projects. If an image tells 1,000 words, imagine the stories a unified series can hold. Yeah. I think, look, I'm a copywriter. I'm going to encourage you to find a copywriter to work with and see if you can come up with some better intro lines for each of your sections, including this one. A picture tells 1,000 words. That's such a cliched line already, and especially for a photographer to use. So I feel like if you really want to stick to this kind of structure of having a headline before the work with a writer and come up with something great. Okay, so what am I looking at here? Layered up, masculine, 3 farmer. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, see the. Ooh, can I keep? No, okay. Let's see. Layered up. Oh yeah, I remember this from your. I've already seen this image. Oh, weird. The arrow keys don't navigate here like they did on the other sections. That's too bad. I like it when it does that. Yeah, these are cool. Very fashiony. Can I go here? Yep, masculine. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. Ooh, these are cool, man. Yeah, these are intense. I really like these. I don't think I've seen anything quite like these. This might be some of my favorite stuff on your site. It's really cool. And almost like if you were going to pick a hero image, like a single image for your site, yeah, I feel like it would be one of these. Okay, 3 farmers. What's that? Also, I should say I'm not a photographer, obviously, if anyone hasn't already figured that out. But as a creative director, I've hired more photographers than I can remember or even count. So I've had to look at a lot of photography books and make snap decisions about who to hire for what. And so I'm just bringing that experience to this. I am not qualified to give deep analysis of the actual photographs themselves. I'll do my best to tell you what I think is working and not working, but again, the caveat is I'm a creative director, copywriter based, a little bit of graphic design and art direction over the course of my career. So this is me just kind of giving you for that top level perspective on your work. So this feels like an ad, like a product shoot, not a project, right? I feel like when I see projects on a photographer's website, to me that almost always means like their personal stuff, the stuff that they're doing for fun, something that they thought of that they hope a creative might see and want to use for a campaign, or it's gallery work that they're doing or they're exhibiting. I don't expect to see product photography in your projects section. So I think this goes somewhere else. And again, this speaks to that earlier note about potentially reconsidering how you compartmentalize the work on your site. But I don't feel like this belongs here. Sapsucker Peach Punch. Oh, maybe I get to see the ads here. Sapsucker Peach. What's this? Okay. Okay. I mean, this is okay. Okay. These are okay. I think I know why you have it in there, because there's lots of this kind of pack photography, product photography, and you're probably trying to get more of it. So um, I'm not telling you to get rid of it, but I would love to see the idea behind the campaign, those images that you showed me earlier. And again, it's a little strange when I see the same thing in different sections, right? Because you've already shown me this in the people section, but it's and maybe the product. Let's check. Yeah, and the product. So you've got it in people, you've got it in product, and now you've got it in projects. So that speaks to, again, I'm repeating myself again, but this to me demonstrates, shows, and proves that there's a organization issue on your website that you might want to think about. Postmodern elegance. I think this is the last one. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is hot. This feels like right out of like Vogue Italia. Oh, man. I would rock that suit. I love that suit. It's a nice shot. These are interesting. Yeah, if Vogue Italia doesn't call, they should. This is great. Cool. All right, let's see. Contact. Named one of the top 200 advertising photographers worldwide, having worked with brands like Absolute, Disney, Walmart, Pixar, Toys R Us, and more. David is ready to help you tell your story. Great. Love a short, succinct, egoless but powerful bio. This is perfect, right? The only thing that's missing is the work for Absolute, Disney, Walmart, Pixar, Toys R Us. Where's that work in your photography? Because if you're going to tell me that you've done this amazing work and you're going to list those brands, put it on your site. If it's video stuff and you don't want to do video stuff anymore, then maybe you leave this up for a little while until you can replace it with other big name, big brand stuff. But okay, and also so maybe. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone will tell you that you should have an about section on your website. And so this is sort of an about with a contact form. So maybe consider changing this section to about and just putting your email link down here below your name. Because that's consistent on every page. I like to make it easy for people to get in touch with me if they want to work with me. And, the minute I see an image on your website that I think he's our guy, if I can just click and email you, that's awesome. So I think potentially move that email address down below your name, and that could solve this problem. Okay, so that's I think. Oh wait, oh no, God, have I looked at everything? Let me just double check pixels. Oh yeah, okay. I think I've looked at everything. So what are my other thoughts? One thing I did notice, David, is you're obviously using Squarespace, and I appreciate that you're confined now because of that decision creatively in terms of all the different things you might be able to do or want to do but can't or haven't figured out or need a coder to help you tweak. But there is one simple thing you can do that I highly recommend for everyone who's using Squarespace or any website builder for that matter is use a favicon, right? If you don't, then you get this sort of default three-dimensional cube that becomes the icon for your domain if I save it somewhere, right? And why not have that favicon be something beautiful, like just one of your pictures or your logo or even your mark if it's the blue topographic waves, something that will reproduce small but that I can see on a phone or in a URL address bar that lets me know I'm on the right site or where your site is when I have a bunch of tabs open. So add a favicon. I think the only other note I would say is, consider editing some of the stuff out. I shared already which things I think you should edit out. Overall, this is a great site. I can see why you've been successful as a photographer. Certainly if I had the right project, I'd know who to call for, especially for that beautiful, moody, light stuff. I think that's kind of your signature look, and it's powerful. It's really, really cool. And so thank you so much for sharing your portfolio. If anyone watching here would like to jump on board and get a review from me, you can do so at eranthomson.com/reviews. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you'll find me there. I'm the only Eran Thomson on there. And again, like I said at the start, if you want to work with me on your portfolio to help get it into shape and help get you the gigs or gig of your dreams, I'm here for you. Drop me a note, whatever you do. Have a great day. Take the feedback. Don't take the feedback. I hope that this has been helpful for you and for everyone watching. And send me your folios.